Sometimes you have all of these things planned and then nothing goes your way. And then it ends up being even better than you could have imagined. Well, my friends, that happened for me this past weekend at the Eclipse retreat, and I want to tell you all about it. Welcome to Star Powered Astrology for Changemakers. I'm Leslie Tagorda, your guide, a Hawaii born Filipino Jewish astrologer who loves navigating visionaries like you through the spiritual journey of your work so that you can be inspired to lead by your chart and become the luminary leader you were born to be. All right, welcome, welcome. I wanted to share some kind of behind the scenes events that happened last weekend in Calistoga for our Libra eclipse. So we had that annular Ring of Fire eclipse, and I had planned an entire retreat. If you were listening back in the spring, you might have heard me announce to sign up for the wait list for this retreat that was going to happen. And, I put down so much money reserving all of the rooms at like my favorite spa in Calistoga. We reserved we reserved some spaces. I got a hypnotherapist. I reserved some buses and got airline tickets for Jeff and Jameer and my team to come support me. I wanted to create this beautiful eclipse retreat at my favorite place in the world in Calistoga. And as we were pricing everything out because there's part Calistoga for whatever reason. Calistoga is in Northern California. It's in wine country. It's in Napa Valley, and it's in wine country. And over the last few years, I think like everything, it's gotten like ridiculously expensive. And I've been going to this place called Indian Springs for over 20 years, from back when you could get a day pass and a spa treatment that got you a free day pass to this beautiful pool. They have this Olympic size pool that is geyser water fed. So the water is warm and it's minerally, and you can just float in it. And it feels like it just settles down your entire nervous system when you step your toe into the water. It's kind of hard to explain because you're like, how can a pool do that? I've been going to this place for so long. I don't even know how to explain it. And so I wanted to share this with my people on this retreat. But over the years, this place has gotten more and more and more bougie. And okay, I love a little bit of bougie. Like I do treat myself to this resort once or twice a year, once with my family, once a year, and then once with my last year, I went with my business coach, Megan Hale. We had our own little retreat there. And so I really wanted to share it again this year. So, like I said, I reserved all of these rooms. I like maxed out one of my credit cards just to reserve all these rooms all the way back in March because this place sells out all the time, no matter how crazy expensive it is. But as we got closer to selling this, I really wasn't committed to selling. Like I reached out to the people who all like 40 people who signed up for the wait list. And I get it, wait list sometimes we just kind of want to check out what other people are selling. And now the price was probably a sticker shock because for a double room, just for the money to work out for all the things that I wanted to do, like the transportation to and from San Fran SFO, which is about an hour and a half drive, for just the rooms, for to pay for my team and then for the hypnotherapist and all the activities that I had planned, it was going to be $5,000 for a double. Yes, I know. So when we crunched the numbers and I just couldn't get that price down, I started to feel really ashamed. I started to feel like I couldn't consciously sell this and reach out to people and invite people because I was really embarrassed by that super high number. And so right around August or September, when I was like, I'm just not selling this, like I can't sell it. There was a part of me also that was saying like the Indian Springs is just so special. If you go there and you're hosting and holding space for all these people, then you're not going to be able to enjoy it. This is your special place, your sacred place. It finally occurred to me that I needed to absolutely 100% cancel the retreat, which was easy because nobody signed up because I wasn't really pushing it, even though we had created this beautiful, beautiful page. If you want to look at the page is still up there on starpower.com/retreat. I still love the page. Jeff, we did a beautiful job on the page. But I already had bought my plane tickets for Jeff to come in, fly in from Las Vegas, for Jamira to fly in from Portland, and I wanted to go anyway because like that is like absolutely my happy place. So what we did instead was we were going to make lemonade from lemons and instead make this a team building retreat. And let me just say, this was like one of the best decisions I had ever made in my life because now that our team is growing, Jeff and I had been to Calistoga a couple of years before, and we planned out an entire year. We planned out podcast episodes and different offers. Ooh, but this time we had Jamira, who is just like a marketing operational like just master, right? She was able to hold space for Jeff and I to ideate for us to brainstorm. And we accomplished so much in one single day from 10 a.m. till 5 o'clock. We took a little pizza break in between and we just mapped everything out. So I wanted to share with you about the 6 things that we mapped out because we all got together at this really transitional time, the shakeup time of this eclipse, and how we were rewarded with just absolute so much clarity on how we are taking the reins in on next year. So I want to share the 6 things that we did, and then I also want to share how we reflected and celebrated this time together all under the auspiciousness, I can't find the word right now, but you get it all under the good graces of this beautiful eclipse because we're finally letting go of all the things like after a year of reflection. Quarter 4 is so great at looking back at all the things that happened in the previous year, the things that worked, the things that didn't work, the things that you want more of, the things that you want less of. And so really like planning out our upcoming 2024 based on what we are ready to let go. So I want to share 6 things of this deep reflection on the past year and how during our retreat we mapped this out. So number 1, the biggest aha for me is a deeper understanding of my business model. Okay, I do astrology for branding and for businesses. And really, what that means is that astrology for branding and businesses, it positions like what you're here to do, who you're here to serve, what kind of topics you're supposed to talk on, what kind of energy you're supposed to hold in delivering, what kind of business models, how your business model makes money. Yes, we can see all of that in your natal chart, my friend. Even even practicing it for others, sometimes when you practice it on yourself, we're always rediscovering things over and over and over again. It is a never ending onion that you're continually peeling back the layers. And so the night before the retreat, I was sitting in the pool with my business coach, Megan. She came along too because like it's Calistoga and Megan's not going to miss a trip to Calistoga. So we were having some girl time also. And, like our fun talk is floating in the pool, talking about business models. Like seriously, we were doing that for 2 hours and we were just having the time of our lives. I was realizing that my 10th house midheaven, which is, in career astrology, it talks about like the energy that you need to put into your public life or the energy that you need to have for your career. And to me, that has always felt really restrictive because for an entrepreneur, there's so many different expressions of business models. And so that 10th house really shows us our business model and the type of delivery, how we're supposed to deliver on our ultimate mission. So the containers for our different offers. And so I have Pisces there. It's all about, of course, spirituality, about vibe, about creativity. And I've always had this vision of my work as being like this temple. I have a ton in the ninth house. I have my Sagittarius moon. So, of course, I'm always thinking about these like grand spaces, grand architecture with all of these books and wisdoms and libraries. Like, I've always had this vision in my head. And I hadn't yet connected the dots about how my online business, Star Powered, is really supposed to be a place of learning, a place of exploration, a place of sharing ideas and ideals. And it finally, like, boom, clicked in. With Pisces at that midheaven, I knew that my school or my offer had to be all access. And right now, I have all of my trainings in 2023. I had all of my trainings put into my Star Powered Circle because I was like, oh, I'm going to make it easy. I'm going to have like one offer. I'm going to put everything into Star Powered Circle, and all of my trainings are in there. But not everybody wants to be part of that community and circle. So I knew I was leaving something out, something needed to be fixed. And once I realized that Jupiter, the ruler, the traditional ruler of Pisces, was nearby in the ninth house, it even showed me even much more clearly that I was here to create a place of higher learning. So much different, similar to a school, but much more spiritual and much higher, not like a school, like an elementary school, but more of a higher space place of learning, like a universal library. And so that really, really clicked for me, and thinking about how I was going to develop my offers for next year, because we have all of our Astro Brand trainings, we have all of our new moon ceremonies, we have all these little bits and pieces that I was trying to just throw into Star Powered Circle and say, like, okay, get everything. But that wasn't exactly it. So then the next thing that we had to do, so the number one is I got really clear on my business model. The second thing that I need to do is I had to get clarity on my customer journey. So if you listened to last week's episode, you know that we were talking about soul customers, and we were talking about the energies that we wanted to release and the energies that we needed to tap into more. And that seventh house descendant energy of your soul customer archetype, that archetype is always going to be that archetype, but there are going to be different levels that your customer is going to be on, that they are experiencing that archetype. So remember, I have that seventh house in Sagittarius. That means, again, so much Sagittarius in my chart. Yes, I know. So that means that my soul customers, they're seekers, they're spiritual seekers, they're spiritual practitioners, they're spiritual explorers connecting the dots in their purpose led businesses. But I knew that I had these different levels of people in my community. I had people that were like the seekers that love spirituality, they loved community, they loved being around people who loved talking astrology and woo woo in their spiritual businesses. They loved going to all the rituals and all the ceremonies, but they weren't exactly wanting to learn astrology and like dive into the deep end. They wanted to dabble in the astrology. And it's like, ah, yes, my seekers. Those were like my folks who are always like, yeah, you show me the chart. I'm not really interested in reading the whole thing, but I want to be in this community and talk about the higher meaning of everything. And then the second group of people that I had, still of that Sagittarius archetype, were my practitioners. And my practitioners were the ones who loved astrology and wanted to practice astrology, wanted to learn everything about astrology and work it into their businesses, whether they were brand, like in the brand professionals or marketing professionals or business consultants, or people wanting to just like widen their skill set and weave in astrology. So I have those practitioners, that second set. And the last is I have my, what I call my executives. These are thought leaders. These are CEO level, whether or not they own their own business or they work for another company. They wanted straight astro guidance directly from me, one-on-one. Maybe the group sometimes, but that's not what they need because they have such a limited amount of time. They just wanted guidance straight from the source. And so it was super just eye-opening to really be able to see my three types of customers based on their journey and what they needed from me. Again, it's all a process. It took me this long to really figure out they all need Sagittarius from me, but they needed Sagittarius in these very unique, different ways. So understanding my business model then played into where my customer journey is, which helped us plan out how we wanted to organize our website, which has always been overwhelming because we offer so many things. We have our everything from our do for you brand design to our one-on-one readings to star powered circle community to the certification. It was just like, how were people going to find the things that they needed? I had so many people when the certification came around saying, I didn't hear about certification. I really wanted to get your Astro Brand certification, but didn't hear anything. Well, thank you, friends, for sharing that feedback. We've taken all of these things to heart and we're getting clear on that. So understanding the business model, understanding which of the customer journeys, directing people to the journey that they needed to go on our website, plan that out. The third thing that we did, which felt like the hugest relief, was we were able to plan out our entire year of offers. We planned out all of the live trainings that we were going to put into the circle. And really, in Star Powered Circle, currently there's about 50 people in Star Powered Circle, and we have our training library in there. But one of the things that I heard people saying in Circle that was that they always felt behind because we had this library in there that was kind of like putting so much pressure on people, saying like watch me, and if the trainings weren't watched, people were feeling really guilty if they couldn't consume all of the live trainings, the 4 of them that we had in the year. They felt again really, really, really behind. So I wanted to take that pressure out and move that library out of the circle and then only have these really low lift integrated astrology training, light on the astrology, heavy on the implementation in our businesses. So we planned out all of those things in Circle. We mapped out all of the changes that we wanted to do in Star Powered Circle to make it an even better gathering space for clients, having more connection. We're changing our platform because I'm sorry, Kajabi just wasn't doing it. I gave you an entire year to get those groups figured out and you just weren't caring. So we're jumping off of Kajabi and we're moving into another platform that's really much more focused on the community and the groups. Then we also planned out our certification, the Astro Brand certification, all of the curriculum that goes in the library, but then also the 6 month of mentorship. So certification is coming around again in February. Circle is opening up right at the end of the year because it's a year-long container. And then we mapped out all of the promotional periods for each thing. We mapped out all of the implementation for each project. We mapped out all of the evaluation and the closing of the space for each one. Oh my gosh, all the things that have always just been floating around and we've been reacting to and like just so frantically stressed, just trying to do things and shoot from the hip, no more. And the biggest thing is intentional blank space every quarter in my work. No client stuff, no delivery stuff, simply so that I can be writing articles for journals and PR and working on the app that is coming up. So yes, I know it sounds like a lot, but it's not, because this past year in 2023, I built on all of my training. Like this year was a very heavy lift year with building out all of the star powered position, a 4-part training that talks about how astrology positions your what, why, how, and for whom. Then we mapped out star powered voice, all of your messaging, and the way that you organize your brand personality, that speaking voice, your brand statements, like your purpose, mission, and vision, and the differences between them and why they're so important. I loved Star Powered Voice and just putting together how we can use our astrology to tune into the different energetic keys that need to be amplified. And then the last part of my certification, just kind of the curriculum, which was Star Powered Style, the visuals and the processes that we go through that are all aligned. It felt amazing to write all of that, but expecting people to be able to just absorb all of that in the circle, that was a total disconnect. So loved being able to plan that out, and now we just get to polish that up in the next year, and in terms of like how we implement it and how we apply it and how we allow clients to go through all of that content. Amazing. Feels so good. So business model one, client journey clarity two, planning out the entire years of offers three, including our free promotional like masterclasses and webinars. Like those are so much fun. Expect to hear more about what's coming up. And then honing in, number four, honing in on the promotional, the implementation, and the evaluation systems to uphold each of those projects. Whew. Then, number five, we got into adjusting our pricing models because I know that there's so much uncertainty in the world right now with inflation, with loans, like, access to money and investments being harder to get. I was really committed to keeping, especially Star Powered Circle, which is all about inclusion and accessibility. I was really committed to keeping those pricing models at the same price. And so we figured out different pricing models to be able to hold that same price for Star Powered Circle and then expand things in other ways. I'm super excited to share about different pricing models that we have coming up, especially as we start to talk about the year end and into the promotional period for 2024, because there's a lot of things coming up. And then lastly, then we were able to look at all the places where we needed extra support, because now we have like all of this stuff to release and to put out. We put together some drafts for some roles that we needed, like a community manager for Star Powered Circle, for somebody to put together portfolio pieces for like our design projects that nobody knows about, because once we finish the design project, it just stays there. It doesn't even get onto our website right now. We're just like overwhelmed with too many things. So it felt so amazing to be able to draft out these needs and these roles that to expand this work. I know there's something bigger that's being created. So we did all of these things in 6 hours on one big day on the Friday before the eclipse. Strategy, brainstorming, frantic note taking. It was intense. By the time that 5 o'clock hour struck, our brains were just like absolute mush. So we took a little break, and then we headed over to the amazing restaurant, Sam's Social Club, on the property for a beautiful dinner. I didn't want anybody to hold back, so we ordered whatever our hearts desired because we put in our heart's desire. And then Megan, who joined us, treated us to a bottle of champagne where we could reflect and celebrate all of everything that we've accomplished in the last year, let alone that day. After we toasted our champagne, we took off our makeup and we headed straight to those healing mineral waters of Indian Springs and spent a couple of hours at like 10 o'clock in the evening, soaking up the waters and soaking up the beautiful sky. It was such a beautiful day, such a beautiful celebration. But now, after I read that book, The Art of Gathering by Priya Parker, this book kind of changed my life because I realized all of the ways that I'd create these containers, really good at starting the containers, really good at starting to implement, but not good at closing the containers. So I wanted to close our special time together with the eclipse. I had always imagined that we were going to do a hike to there's this beautiful hiking spot that overlooks all of these vineyards, and there's a spot where it faces east, and I've hiked up this little trail many times, and I had done my reconnaissance. I knew exactly where the eclipse was going to be in the sky. I knew we were going to be able to see it. And so I told my team, okay, we're going to meet up at 10 o'clock because the eclipse new moon is at 10:55. And everybody was like, okay, great. And so when I went to go get my coffee, like an hour before we were going to meet, Megan and I were at the cafe, and it was a cloudy day, so we didn't even know if we were going to see the eclipse. But the sky parted a little bit, the clouds parted a little bit, and I saw the sun and I saw the moon starting to take a bite out of the sun. I was like, oh no, the eclipse is now. And so I messaged Jeff, I messaged Jameer. I was like, we're going to be there in like 10 minutes. I'm grabbing some coffee and some croissants. We'll be there in just a few minutes. Get ready to go. So we grabbed our coffee, we grabbed our croissants, we walked over to the hotel that the team was staying at and started running. I say that very loosely. We hustled ourselves up to the hiking point where I wanted to do this ceremony. And again, it was really cloudy. So I was kind of bummed. And I was thinking to myself, I'm so glad I didn't have people here that had paid $5,000 to see this eclipse, because I would have felt, even though I had no control over the weather, I would have felt so responsible and so heartbroken that I couldn't show them the sun, that I couldn't part the clouds. But every once in a while, the clouds would part. We could see the sun, we could see the moon getting ready. And then at one moment, the clouds parted and the moon was right in the middle of the sun. It was so amazing. By that time, we were up to that kind of landing point where I wanted to take in the whole eclipse. And we had brought some paper, we had brought a lighter, I had brought a fireproof bowl, we had brought all of our little ritual things. And so the five of us up on that side of the hill overlooking the winery, with the eclipse light beaming down on us, we reflected, right? We wrote down what we were ready to release with this eclipse, all of those power dynamics, all the things that were holding us back from our highest connections. For me, that was just overworking, just go, 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 go. I was ready to release that. And then on the other side of the page, we wrote down the surprises that we were opening ourselves up to, that we were welcoming in now that we had this space. And for me, that was welcoming in more enjoyment, more pleasure, more vitality in my life, because this last year has been just so heavy lift, so much work. And then so we all wrote down our things and our what we wanted to release. We all wrote down what we wanted to welcome in. We folded up those little pieces of paper and we put them in the fireproof bowl, and we lit them up, and we watched the ashes burn. We watched the paper burn. And then once the paper was all burned, we cooled them off. We added a little bit of some earth, like literally just grabbed a handful of dirt. I walked down the path a little bit. There was some beautiful sagebrush. I picked a little bit of sage, threw that into the bowl. We mixed it all up, made sure that everything was nice and cool. And then with a blessing, I threw the ashes into the wind to release our desires, to release the things that we want to let go, and to let them into spirit so spirit could help us. It was so beautiful. And I kid you not, at that time, the sky opened up again, the clouds opened up, just as we could see the moon taking its last bite of the sun and moving off the sun. Just incredible, all in divine timing. Like, I couldn't have planned that. Like, honestly, I couldn't have planned everything that happened this weekend. And I know it went exactly how it needed to be. So I ask you, my friends, to invite this kind of energy, to invite this kind of surprise. And all it takes is a little bit of reflection, a little bit of intention, and a little bit of divine timing to see and seed all of this. So thank you for listening as I shared some of the behind the scenes things that are going on, shared some learning lessons of a retreat gone not as intended, but even better than I could have intended. So powerful. So next week, be sure to check into the next episode because we're still in eclipse season. We have that Taurus full moon's lunar eclipse coming up. And I'm inviting Lindsay, Brian Podvin. We're talking about financial trauma and how to unlock our financial trauma, how to let go of this idea of deserving, to bring in this power of worthiness in your change making work, making space for it with this lunar eclipse. It is a most powerful conversation. I already recorded it this morning. It was like eye-opening for me. I freaking loved it. So I hope you do too. If you've been loving this podcast, be sure to leave a rating, written review. And if you're not on my email list and want to be let in on all the things that are coming up, make sure you get on my email list. Head on over to starpowered.com. You'll find everything that you need there. Get on my email list, leave a review for this podcast, and just celebrate, be grateful, appreciate all the things that we have right now because there are so many people that are suffering. The thing that we can do is send our love, send our prayer. It's true. These little things are making a big difference. I promise you that. All right, my friend. Until next time, thank you so much. As a human design projector, my energy shines more brightly because of people like you who share my work. If you enjoy this podcast and want to help build a movement of innovative astrology and leadership and spark the intuitive revolution, please rate and review this podcast on Apple Podcasts, or better yet, share this podcast with your change-making besties. We will all shine brighter together as we create the future we want to see.